So what's the difference between pigment and dye ink? And is there certain things that one can do and the other can't? Let us have a look, shall we? Hi, I'm Lydia from Altenew and I have been crafting for an extremely long amount of time. So when I started at stamping, I did not know which inks to use and which would do which things and things like that. And it really did take a lot of time to kind of figure these things out. But I finally did, and hopefully the knowledge that I have may help you out today. So I am going to take out some inks and we are going to have a little play.
Let's start with the dye inks. You'll notice that dye inks are very common among paper crafters who enjoy stamping. This is because dye inks are kind of the best, I believe, for stamping. So the colours are vibrant. You can see that the colours are lovely and bright when you stamp an image. The colours really stand out and emphasise the beautiful design of the stamp. These are translucent. So because the colours are translucent, this means that you can do different techniques such as ink layering, colour blending, and also a little bit of like kiss stamping and other things like that too. And you're going to be able to see that because they're translucent, you are going to see a little bit of the colour below, so it will slightly change the colour when you work with them. Acid-free. You may have heard the words acid-free or archival before to describe inks. So why is it important for an ink to be acid-free? So acid-based inks can deteriorate your paper over time. Now if you're using this for scrapbooking, it can really damage the photographs that you do use. So acid-free inks allows your projects to remain a little bit more intact over a long time period. Fast drying. Impatient crafters are like myself who just want to get that card done without long gaps in between can understand how important this is. This is especially important if you want to colour in your image and you don't want to risk smudging the ink. So quick drying ink allows you to apply different colouring techniques to your project without worrying about smudging or inky messes. These are also quite fade resistant. Now if you're like me, our handmade cards are works of art that you want to keep for a very long time. We don't want those ink colours to fade over time. We prefer that the card stays in the exact same way as it is over years later. Now let's dive into the pros and cons of pigment ink. Pigment-based ink is a type of ink used to colour paper and other surfaces. Unlike the water-based inks that we've just seen, the dye inks, pigment inks are water resistant and more fade resistant. So if you're after a more fade resistant, this one would probably be one that you wanted to go for. They can be a great way to add colour, texture and vibrancy to your cards. Now, the main difference between the dye and the pigment ink is that the dye ink will soak in and dye the fibres of your paper. So that's why we call it dye ink. It actually dyes the fibres to give that colour. So it will go kind of into the cardstock. Pigment ink, on the other hand, will sit on the top of the paper. So this isn't dyeing the cardstock, it's kind of just sitting right on the surface. And that's why it gives really such a vibrant look. So the reason why it's great for heat embossing is that this does sit on the top of the paper and then it takes longer to dry. So this does dry a lot longer than the dye ink. So you do have that time to add your embossing powder to it and then heat set. It's also water resistant. So you're going to be able to stamp your outline with this with some pigment ink, and then you're going to be able to watercolor the image and it's not going to smudge or move. And also because pigment ink is opaque, you're going to be able to stamp light colors on dark cardstock. So normally with dye ink, because you're dyeing the cardstock, you're just adding to the color that's already there. But with pigment ink, because this is sitting on the surface, you're going to be able to add a different color to a darker piece of cardstock, and it is just going to pop really, really well.
So we really do hope this video has helped you in some way. If you do have any more questions, please let us know in the comment section below. Also, if you do need it, we have some resources on pigment and dye ink, and it is linked in the description.
Hello crafters, Jen here. For more tips, techniques, tutorials, and to discover which paper crafting products are right for you, subscribe to Altenews YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Thanks for watching.